So So our audio is on. Can I see Bill out there? Don't see Tasha. I wonder.
How long will Pamela be out?
I don't know. Not sure.
She hasn't said. Okay. She doesn't have COVID, does she?
No,
Okay, thank you.
she doesn't. I can
Somebody-
absolutely sure she does not.
Yes.
That
I have to tell you, this is just between you and me, but I wouldn't.
the
have come in.
audio is on.
I wouldn't have come in if it hadn't been you asking me.
Thank you.
I'm done if she's gonna continue on after I'm coming back.
Okay.
And
You
then
should let Malene know.
I will with my email. Yeah, just to
I'm listening.
Hi, Malene.
hi, Mylene.
Although I didn't hear what you said, that you need to let me know. But
I said that I will, this will be my last year for working elections. This is Beth.
oh, I'm so sorry, Beth. You're like a superstar in the election.
Thank you, but I don't feel like I'm a superstar anymore. My brain is getting very old. And
Well, I know what you mean. I feel in the same way.
Yes, and congratulations, by the way, on your second grandson.
Thank you. You may be able to hear him in the background there.
Nope, not yet.
Well, this will be my last presidential election, so.
Really? Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, well, it won't be mine, I hope.
Well, good, Amy, we're just waiting outside for a minute.
No, no worries.
Okay.
Natasha's in here yet, so
What's that?
Natasha is here yet, so feel free
The
to.
what's not there?
Natasha, she's going into the meeting.
Oh, Natasha's going in. Oh, okay. Oh,
Somebody's here, but I don't know who it is.
I'm gonna just give her a call, make sure that she remembers.
Maybe they all forgot.
No, Bill is outside and so is Randy. I'm just giving Natasha a call real quick.
Okay.
Hi, are you on your way over? Did I canvas working? Okay, sounds good, thank you. Bye. All right, she is on her way over. And
So,
Mylene, I'll turn you around so you can see the other board members when they come in.
if they come in, no. Yeah.
So nobody's there yet. They're all late.
Well, Bill and Randy are hanging out on the porch.
Oh, okay. Where's
Yeah.
Natasha?
Natasha, I just spoke with Natasha and she is on her way over right now.
Did she forget about it?
I think she did. She said, oh crap.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna double check that the audio is on the live streaming again.
Okay.
Yes, it is.
It's live to everybody, you mean, like we had during election.
Yeah, it's on the YouTube channel for,
Yeah.
for the elections.
I actually watched it once. It was something that had already happened. It was Ted and Diane were here, and Robin was here. But I don't know who her mother was. But anyway, it was kind of fun to watch Ted and Diane. Hi, Randy.
Good morning. Did you get your hair cut?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. I love it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Natasha, if you could be right here, actually.
Right here? Yes.
That's Bill, this is Bill C.
All right.
Okay, Randy and Beth, I don't know if you remember me.
First name?
Phillips, Beth.
Beth.
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Hi, Beth.
I am your, let's see, your Bill.
I am Bill.
Natasha.
I'm the top.
I think.
Very nice to meet you.
Oh, hi, Tom. How are you? Good. All right. Well, it looks like
Hi.
we are ready.
Hey, you can observe?
Yes.
Perfect.
We're missing your wife.
Yeah.
Would you like a chair?
That's it.
Okay, so Natasha, if you would like to call the meeting to order, we can get started.
Yes, please. I call today's canvassing board meeting to order. It is 8:34.
All right, thank you. We have a number of things to review. So you all have a sheet in front of you with all of the ballots and envelope issues that we have. So we will start with the ballots that we received that were, the envelopes were not signed. So if you could go through these and either sign voted or not voted, depending on if there is a signature.
How many of those are there?
I'm sorry,
How many of those are there on site?
there are 5. We started with more, but of course we send notices out and we also call the folks.
I'll make sure it goes
Have
in
their
Actually, it looks like the order.
phone numbers, and a number of them cured their signatures.
Some of them had letters sent and so on pretty late in the process or emailed pretty, here's the 30th, 3rd, and the 4th.
We had a lot of return early in the process, so it was pretty
Now,
amazing.
what does this mean, letter sent 11/4? Because 11/4 is after the election.
It is, so that's a ballot that we signature verified on the 4th. It came to us before the 4th. We signature verified it on the 4th, and then we sent the letter on the 4th to say, hey, you didn't sign it. So the folks have until 4:30 today to get those letters back to us.
Oh, I see. So they don't have to sign it by election day. They just have to cure it by election day.
They
And
just
all
have
of
to
these were
cure it
not
by
cured.
today. And it has to be
By
either
today, I mean,
postmarked or in a
certified,
ballot
yeah.
box by election night.
Okay, all not voted, 5 not voted.
I have not voted.
We'll
Sorry,
see.
not a red pen, is that okay? No, it's good.
No,
I'm used
that's
to using red pens over here, so that's
absolutely
okay. I
fine.
just wanted to make sure.
I think I actually took the one that was here, so. I
Oh,
apologize
no,
for that.
I just got a new type of pen, so I'm like, oh, bring the red one for elections.
Okay, so the next issue that we have is, did you have a question, Bill?
Yeah, where do you want me to put these minutes in?
Just in front of you is fine. Thank you. Okay, so the next issues that we have are folks whose signature did not match their ballot envelope. And so what, Natasha, what y'all will be doing is looking at the signature on the ballot envelope and the signature that was printed out from their voter registration information and seeing if you think they match. If you do, feel free to mark voted. If you don't, mark not voted.
How many of those?
41.
What do you want to do?
And again, we did have a number of folks who returned cure forms and we were able to verify their signatures. Yeah, some of them are wildly different. Which I can understand because a lot of times these signatures come to us from the Department of Licensing. And you know, when you sign on the pad, sometimes it doesn't look anything like your actual signature.
Okay, why does this one have 2 signatures?
It has 2 signatures down below because VoteLaw can hold, I believe, up to 10. And so those are historic that the voter has provided to us. And Randy, I'm sorry, I didn't see that you had the blueprints. Would you mind using the red pen? Just
Oh,
because
really?
Yeah, we only use red on our ballots. Anything to do with
Darn.
election.
I brought my own blue.
Blue's not allowed on the table.
I'm
Those
sorry, I
have to
didn't
be on
catch
the
that
table.
before. Those have been
That's
sanitized, so.
I always use blue.
We've always used blue.
I
Oh,
was trained to use blue.
We're trained to use blue, we just don't use black.
well, I apologize
That's
for
okay.
that then.
I don't know where that comes from. I don't think there is any
It's
rule.
what I've been told is we only ever use red.
And
There's
it's
no
what's
rule
the
like
slide streaming on today,
It is,
the audio.
yes.
Good.
Yeah, all of the Canvas board meetings are gonna be streaming with audio.
Have to use red, but
Yeah, I'm sorry, I have just been told that it's only ever red.
It's definitely harder to form a solid opinion when we're going with what's clearly the pad signature because of the thicker, you can tell the electronic.
And that's
When
why
there's
we
one with
do,
pen, I have an easier
sometimes you
time.
can help explain what you're thinking as you go through it too, and that
Yeah.
helps us too.
Yeah, and that's why we do provide them a chance to cure their signature, because you know that sometimes signatures change and, especially if you're very young or older.
I'm going with this one as an acceptable signature. Has that A with it all the way through, and the P looks similar to me. Although the L is different.
Oh, and just, I don't think I mentioned this, Mylena is joining us, through a Skype call today, so she's observing us.
I didn't know that.
Hi, Marlene.
Good morning.
Oh, she's over there.
Yeah, she's right
Hi, Marlene.
Good morning, Randy.
There you are.
there.
That's what I'm gonna do, because my off.
Okay, have a good
Okay.
day, Tom, thank you
Yeah.
for coming in.
See you, Tom.
What do most people say when they return their signature verification cards? Do they say like, oh yeah, I signed up 15 years ago, or?
Some of them do, some of them don't say anything, some of them write us cute little notes, like thank you for sending us. Some of them write us not so happy notes, but most of them are like, oh, great, we can have a new signature on file, that's awesome.
Okay.
Two people's signatures change often, are the young people and the older people.
Yeah, and that's,
Young people are sometimes they start to vote at 18 and they're still identifying their signatures file.
Yeah, I know I did.
you can almost certainly tell someone's maybe, just for my
Older
own.
people, they lose the control.
Mhm, you can
And
see a little
so-
more wobble when they're, yeah.
They may move to something that just doesn't match up.
I see myself in some of these where I'm like, oh yeah, I could tell that's someone that signed their signature verification card when they were a teenager and. I've been there. Some people, it looks like they're just being lazy and not necessarily signing, just writing.
we guard against the possibility of spouses signing,
Yep.
children or parents signing, and that's what we're doing.
Using the same name. I struggle with that one, Randy.
If it's clearly not the same name, feel free to make a little note on it and I'll research that a bit further.
I disagree, I just don't see it.
Well, she signed B-E-E, and there's
Oh, that's a different
10 letters in the last name on the registration card.
Oh, that may be her.
It could be her maiden name.
Maiden name.
Mhm. If
It's not the same signature.
if the first name matches and the last name doesn't, we can still accept it. If the last name matches, and if there's like a nickname used or initials, we can still accept it as long as they clearly match.
I don't know Erica, I don't know her old name or name. But even the B is not the same. Before, when she went from H to B.
Exactly.
That doesn't matter how I look.
We need to do an educational class on how to sign your damn ballot.
Seriously. Unless you
That's
just,
a good idea for the elections
isn't
live
that
stream.
I'm
Like
serious.
YouTube. Yeah, I'm gonna write that down though, because I've been looking for outreach, topics and opportunities, and that's a good one.
In the little piece I put out about voting with confidence in this election, I talked about trying to sign the way you sign your driver's license. That's kind of the message, because people have access to that, they do not have their voter registration.
yeah, take a peek at your driver's license to
Take a
remind
peek at
yourself
your
how to
driver's
sign,
license
yeah.
and see how you sign, and chances are, if you sign like your driver's license is signed, you'll be okay. There are exceptions to that.
So we're looking at 41 today, how many returned after letters and outreach?
We have more than 100 that we sent out letters to. I believe it
Oh,
was
wow.
like 130 something.
Yeah.
And we do have that information, I can get it if you like.
Oh, thank you, yeah, no, I was just curious to see how big this pile of wood has been.
Bigger. At least ours
This is typical, this is actually low.
Yeah, this is actually low because we had a really high return rate this
Yeah,
election.
what is the return rate? This is a low.
We had a Curran previously.
Current, this is current trouble bomb.
I know, there was a previous Curran too.
Yeah.
I wondered, they sort
Actually,
of,
they look kind of.
they look sort of the
They
same.
look similar. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna reject them both.
Yeah, we can put those together and I'll do a little research and make sure.
You see the
they're
current?
Like,
No, I haven't looked at this.
and they were done with two different pens,
Okay.
but then of course I would. Right?
Yeah.
That's all.
Pauline and Maureen was current.
Well, look at those. I'm the same person,
That's what I was,
no question.
Oh, look, and we were all in agreement.
Well, then
Unanimous.
you'll see them in the
Not-
future in your office, Randy.
What really tells you is look at the dates.
yeah, exactly.
The dates.
Oh, for sure. Same pen, same person. Yep, 100% next to each other. Great catch.
One of them might be correct.
No, exactly. Well, they both might be correct, but, I mean, like, you did it for your, elderly mother or something, right?
Yeah, if you dated
Two
it.
different
like
addresses.
Yeah, I could date it for my spouse, that would be legal.
Right?
Two different addresses,
Yeah,
Yeah, no, they're maiden names.
but that's,
yeah.
the pen is.
Yeah, but they might go together to hang out,
Exactly.
fill out our ballots.
Right.
They shouldn't if they live in different places because of COVID,
Yeah.
but they might have.
Okay, let's see.
Adrian Durkheim. Good job.
This Desiree yearly I struggled with there, the one that you have.
Yeah,
Just
see.
the angles and the loops.
No,
and
exactly.
It seems like a signature that is
Hey,
relatively easy.
Do they have a machine
Copy.
that helps you with,
No,
it's all just personal
it's,
judgment?
yes, here in San Antonio it is. We are trained by the Department of Transportation.
Yeah.
Their forensic
Mm.
fellows.
And,
There's something
some
that's
states
hard
have
to make a
machines,
decision
or some
on.
locations in
Yes.
Washington have
They
machines that.
do, I believe, I think Pierce County has a machine that does automatic signature verification. And I know it has a number of rigorous standards that it has to go through and be approved by the Secretary of State in order to do that.
Now, there's a lot of talk on the news about Dominion, voting system. We do not use Dominion in San
No,
Antonio.
we use Heart Verity.
Part Verity. That is our tabulation system, right?
It is, it's our ballot scanning system and tabulation system.
And what do we use for, voter, information?
That's the statewide voter registration database, it's called VOLA.
The two aren't linked together,
They are not,
And-
no.
and
Signature
the HARP
verification,
is not linked to the internet,
it
right?
is not, no. Yeah, signature verification is done through the voter registration system because that's where the voter registration signatures live. But as far as scanning the actual ballots.
For notes.
Oh, this is my piece of
Oh,
paper.
that's it, okay.
Yeah, they'll give it to me.
Okay.
So as far as scanning the actual ballots and tabulating, those systems are standalone, and they do not talk to the network here in the county or the internet in any way.
So you say the big fat signatures on the sheet are from the machine,
Yeah,
the
I,
pad,
I think they
if
are.
you're thinking?
That's what I feel. You can almost tell. It's easier to tell when there's one of each on the page.
No, exactly, yeah.
But those look like the pad ones to me.
Because I agree, I don't like signing on those pads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I normally just do a scribble, where on paper I actually make my signature legible.
Yeah, of course, when you like have to sign properly, you make an effort.
Right.
But if it's just a store or something,
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not going to dispute this charge. But that is not my signature. Oh, Belly. I think sometimes you just.
Yeah, sometimes people are in a hurry, sometimes they're signing on their driving wheel, sometimes. But again, that's why we give them an opportunity to hear it.
And then, I've never seen people print their legal signature.
right? With some of the.
It's now legal now, but
Some of the younger folks that have been submitting their voter registration forms, I've seen that. Not
Yeah.
very often, like maybe 5 of all the ones that I've processed, but it does happen. We're moving away from handwriting.
They're not even teaching it anymore, are they?
Cursive, I don't know.
I'll have to ask my nieces, they're in 7th and 9th grade, and they learn.
Well, they might have learned a little earlier, but I've heard they're not teaching it anymore at all.
I can ask my sister, she's an educator and she's actually homeschooling my nephew. He's not old
It's
enough
low
to.
priority now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say they don't teach it, but they do. It's low priority. After keyboarding.
I mean, did you learn?
did.
I learned cursive, I hated it.
I did. I think we're about the same age.
I think so
I
too.
think so.
I graduated high school in 04.
I graduated in 07.
Okay,
So,
yeah.
Yeah,
I think you're a little younger than me, but
just a touch.
I just remember hating it. As much as I liked handwriting and writing, I hated learning cursive, and I never use it. I admire people that write in cursive though, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like my handwriting is kind of a mix of printing and cursive.
Yeah,
But yeah, I don't do like a formal cursive.
yeah, my quick writing gets much more cursive than.
Seems to be somebody who's trying to do cursive, but I'm very suspicious when I see corrections.
Your own
To
signature.
your own
Oh,
signature.
that's great.
I have to correct mine all the time because I've been so sloppy with it.
Yeah, that's where
This is a definite, oh,
And we do have people too that call in during the election period and say, hey, I messed up my envelope. I need another one.
Oh, good.
Gotta do better. That's the other thing, there is a way around it. And it's just for people to concentrate, do better, and check the driver's license.
Some of them, it seems like just slow down. Just take a moment to properly sign your name. This is an important document.
I looked at my spouse
Exactly.
and I made her re-sign.
any legal document, it's like, you ought to make sure it's readable so that you can say, yeah, that's my signature
This
versus.
is, yeah, this is the time to focus.
Only a moment.
I find it very entertaining when I try to sign my husband's signature. Because it looks like absolute nonsense until I'm like, I'm gonna try to copy it, and I'm like, oh no, it is. It's not just squiggly lines, cool. Cause I give him a hard time that his signature's not real, but it is. It's the same squiggly lines every time. People. I mean, the mark is beautiful, but it does not match what you have below.
Okay, here's one where I got to be the decider. Ron Rankin.
Who?
The RRs,
No, R.
the 2 Rs.
Yeah, exactly.
They were too loopy compared to, yeah.
They're very loopy, but they're similar.
Is it? Okay.
And so
That's why there's 3 of us.
yeah. And it's squiggly after both times after the R, so, and
I don't remember the exact reason why I picked on him, but why I picked him.
oh, come on. Why?
Oh boy, I accidentally just went
Who really
inside.
uses that as a signature?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, because there's the protector.
Particularly when the last time we have on
And
record
it's
is this.
Can I
I
scroll
always
back
wish I
to
had
take
that
off my
image
map?
of
Like
these
just
people.
roll back?
yeah, it would help in that.
Yeah.
Does anyone have an objection if I roll back into that open hallway and remove my mask to take a drink?
Oh, well, I would say she must be a doctor from that signature.
Yeah. No problem, go ahead.
Thank you guys. Beth, do you mind if I roll back to this open hallway and take off my mask to take a drink?
Not at all.
Thank you. My mom just sent me these great little silicone inserts, so today's my first day trying them.
How do you feel?
Feels great.
Yeah,
Never
Randy.
feel it.
Date of birth is on this sheet.
Oh. Yeah. That's what I figured, but
I just ordered these guys.
Yeah.
this is again a young person who's likely changing.
And it's like a bucket
It's too
inside
bad
you
that
can
she-
sit, so you can wash the outside and just.
That's really nice.
That's why I made you decide, Randy.
It's very big, like.
Well, I struggle with that too, like my face is just small, so everything is
And the
giant.
reason is it's too, upright. This one's too angled, and I don't think people change that angle a lot over time.
The signature is Jennifer C. And this
Maybe
one,
there was a Jennifer S in her class.
and this one didn't even,
I'm surprised that the driver's license, the DOL would allow that
Exactly.
signature, yeah.
But the way you said it is
Reconsider
very
this
fine.
one.
And
I know,
it's like that
I
we're
know.
at home.
I admit it doesn't look anything like this, but it's similar to that.
yeah, but it doesn't even have the same number of squiggles.
Okay. Just-
Right, I looked at that going, okay, yep.
I agree, it doesn't look like that signature, but it's similar to
Oh, yeah, this was the last one I looked at, I definitely. I just couldn't find any similarities in this, even in the
In the
squiggles,
squiggles.
maybe in the last one, but
I mean,
it makes me think, that's me doing my husband's signature right there. Kind of looks like it, but not really.
here they spell out Anderson, here they just put the A. Lazy. If you're lazy,
that. This has one similar letter, but the rest just don't match it, so. And the angles don't match, so
exactly. And that's one of the things they teach you, is it's all about angle. You try to let them,
Yeah, she does. She didn't even make a fuss when it came in.
and that's the problem with signing with these big fat, Sharpie pens,
Right.
like the Donald.
Doesn't it say not to use that? Doesn't it say specifically to use?
It says to use a blue or black ink pen.
Yeah, but it doesn't specify
no.
no Sharpie or no gel or anything. I mean,
Use a
logically,
Sharpie on your ballot, it'll bleed through,
yeah.
It does,
Oh.
it makes a terrible mess.
and then
It's
that's,
really hard to
and then the
distinguish.
scan on the other side might pick it up.
Okay.
Right, as an
So
incorrect.
that
Yeah.
has to be,
I myself actually use Sharpie pens, which I love, but they do not bleed. I would not use a Sharpie.
Here's the slant is absolutely opposite almost. That's too consistent.
I was gonna argue with you guys on this one, then you both agree with me, so.
I mean, if you
Well, that's why-
like
come
to
on.
argue. You were riled up and ready to go.
I was gonna point out, this one is, she's got this one. Okay.
The E is not the same. The H isn't even the same.
There's another person from the same household. Mother's name. Oh, no, we already talked about it, and I voted it.
Oh yeah, I did look, but go with my gut.
we could take this to the schools,
Yeah. Yeah.
do more cursive training.
Well, one of the things that, I was recently on a board that looked through all of the Department of, Public Instruction, I think it was, they had put together an elections like curriculum. And one of the things that we advised that they include was how to sign your ballot. So we are putting that information out there, that it needs to be,
How about you, Bill?
needs to match. Okay, these last three signature mismatches are a little bit different because the person did return the signature
These are part of
verification
the
form.
41 though, right?
They
So
are
we've
part
done
of the
38 so far. Right.
So these, they did return the signature verification form, but the signature on the form, in my opinion, I'm the one who looked at it, doesn't match the signature on the ballot envelope. And according to this WAC, it has to match the signature on the ballot envelope. It doesn't matter if it matches the signature in the voter registration record, if it's on the form. What's on the ballot envelope is what we have to match to. So the voter registration signature is here. The form they returned is here. What you're checking for is if the signature matches the voter registration form or if the signature matches the form they returned. It doesn't matter if the two papers attached match.
And they returned the form with their ballot, or they came in?
No,
These are
separate?
cures.
these are the cures.
Okay,
So they
thank you.
returned their ballot and we.
That's what I was just trying to
separated
understand
them.
the timing of it.
Do these go in the same?
They
Files.
do, they do.
So theoretically, they should be identical since
Mhm.
they were cured and they came in and they signed.
They didn't come in, they mailed the form back.
Mailed
to
the form
us.
back, okay. But as a result of you going, hey,
Right.
But
There's a mismatch.
theoretically, the cure signature is closer in time to the ballot envelope
That's what I'm saying, it should be
signature, so
Yeah, it
should
should
be.
be.
If you can't
Yeah, I know.
get a signature twice,
within a few weeks of each other.
of course, they weren't looking at how they signed their ballot, so they probably had no idea how they scribbled it. Well, looks to me like they scribbled it the same way on both forms,
That is interesting.
except the ballot.
Right?
On this one.
And that's the issue, and I did print out this WAC and highlight the relevant
Check that out.
information in case y'all are
Both of the
interested.
sheets are the same, but what's on the ballot is different.
I think you're gonna have the same experience with that one. There were only 3?
There were only
Okay,
three of
for some
those.
reason I thought there were 4. Oh, boy.
Easy. Don't understand it, not easy.
It's almost as if they sign the ballot knowing that it's gonna be read and they wanna make sure it's readable versus
Right.
when they sign just, normally they don't care about whether it's readable or not. Right, same kind of
Like
thing.
you sent them their signature card back to have them duplicate it, and they did that.
Yeah, they do.
Not realizing that what's on the ballot is a
Wasn't the
secret
same.
and quite different.
That's definitely the feeling I got in the first 2. This third one looked like nonsense to me. Looks like 3 different people signed. But those first 2, yeah, it looks like they signed their signature, signed the first 2, it looks like they went back and looked at their driver's license and said, oh, that's how I signed on my driver's license. But it didn't match what it signed on their ballot.
And we do detail that in the letter that is sent to them, and
Yes.
match what you signed on your ballot.
Before, so when they return that, they know it's supposed to match what's on your ballot now.
They should, if they read the letter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, Ms. Beth, how many
Yeah.
acceptances do we have?
Okay.
There's no box here for accepted and that's okay.
It's the one that's down below, so these are kind of in chunks.
I think 27 not voted.
It's been rejected.
There are 14 in the other file.
Only if you want your math to balance.
14.
Oh, perfect. Audit works.
You cheated, Randy. You gave her the answer before she took the test.
So our next
That means
ballot,
I cheated.
our next ballot was returned and the signature matched what was in the voter registration file, that this person hasn't verified their ID with us. And in order to count the ballot, we do have to have that ID.
Yeah, they have till today to do that.
They do, they have until 4:30 today.
And they're sent notices
They
and,
are.
okay.
They would have been sent two. One, when they originally registered and didn't include ID information, and then one when we received the ballot.
Instead
And
of
with
on
its
file.
on file, yeah.
So how can you register without an ID?
You can register as long as you have the 5 required pieces to register, and ID is not one of them. But you can't
Excuse me?
turn it, no, so it's your name, your date of birth, your residential address, your signature, and affirmation that you're a citizen. Those are the 5 required pieces, and ID is not one of them.
But it is required in order to vote.
It's required in order for the ballot to count.
Interesting.
I know, right? Ask your legislator why that is. Yes. Okay, so, did we reject that one?
Yes.
Okay, rejected. Awesome. All right, so the next 2 items that we have to reject are, ballots that have been returned where it says the voter has been deceased. This first one is pretty simple. It's not signed at all. The second one,
That's good.
yeah,
Pretty bad when the deceased person signs.
I know, right? Okay, so the second one is an issue where we did not have this name in our files anywhere, either in San Juan County or in the state of Washington. They signed, you can see they ripped out the person who it actually was, but we can tell who it was by the ballot ID on the outside of the envelope here. So we looked this up. This was a fellow who was married to this person. We gave him a call because his number is on the ballot envelope. And he said that his partner had been deceased for 3 years. So we don't know who signed this envelope, but we don't have any record of them, and so we cannot count their ballot.
Easy.
Interesting.
Now, when you get this information, do you remove them from the rolls?
We check and make sure that we have either an obituary or a Department of Health record that says they are deceased. And then we do cancel their voter registration record if we can confirm that they're deceased.
Do you look at a statewide database or a county?
The state sends us their information periodically, and I also check newspapers every week for obituaries.
Really? Every week you go through?
Every week, yeah. So
Just
I
the
don't go
local
through
paper, though, don't
just
you?
the local
No, I understand.
papers, yeah, and their websites, most of them are really straightforward. They have a section for obituaries, so it takes maybe like 10 minutes to get
Then he died, I guess he's dead, all right.
Okay,
Some
so,
people did vote though, I can guarantee you that. People died between the time they voted and the time the ballots were counted.
and those count.
And those count because we can't,
Right.
in order to protect the secrecy of the ballot, they get removed from the envelope, we can't trace them back.
Okay, so the next issues we have are late ballots. We have 2 from the Orcas ballot box that are late. And we have 2 that were postmarked.
It's the nominal number,
Amazing.
amazingly few
Yep.
numbers.
So this was, we checked the Orcas ballot box at 8 PM on
And
vote
it's
day.
locked.
And emptied it.
And then it's locked, and then so at some point we checked after that, and there were 2 in
So,
there.
so folks, after it's locked, we don't check it after that because we remove all of the ballots at that point. But we did, so at this election, after we locked it, the ballots are left in there, which is